All right, welcome back to episode number 14, where we're going to be talking about the LA Clippers salary cap situation. So let's head over to Fanspo and take a look at what the Clippers can do this offseason to improve their situation and get closer to a franchise first finals appearance. Because they do have the talent and the resources to get there for sure. So let's go to the Clippers and let's look at their cap sheet and let's see what maneuvering they can do. And you can see here they have Kawhi Leonard locked up for 2 years for $50 million and 50.3. James Harden is a player option. Norman Powell has $20 million left. Ivica Zubac, they just re-signed for 3 years. Bogdan Bogdanovic, they got locked up for 1 year with a team option. Derek Jones, Chris Dunn, really everybody is locked up for 2 years, with the exception of Zubac, who's locked up for 3 years. Okay, and the Clippers in general have been doing this since Ballmer took over and giving out short-term contracts, so they have maximum flexibility. So if you look at their payroll, they're at $172 million now. With James Harden, they may go a little bit over, but let's look at a couple different scenarios for this. So one scenario could be they don't come to terms with James Harden and say, well, he says, okay, I want to go somewhere else. So one option that's out there is Kevin Durant. You could sign him to a new contract, give him a 2-year deal. I think you have to do 3 years. So 3-year deal, $41 million a year, and do a sign and trade to Phoenix for Durant. Okay, which this should be clean. We need to cut $12 million, and then we're in the clear. So let me grab a player that was making that. So Bogdan could go over there. Okay, it didn't work, but we need to cut $2 million from the Suns, and then it will work. So let's do that. So let's grab a cat right there and see if that works. Okay, we can't aggregate salary. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clear this out, and we're going to make it work. So the Clippers are here, Suns are here, and we're going to include the Brooklyn Nets as a team that will take on basically salary dumps to fill their payroll. Because in the NBA, per the CBA, you have to spend 90% of the cap. So if it's $154 million, they got to be close to that number. So they need to fill their payroll even if they're not competitive. So in this scenario, they have $90 million in cap space. So they can move Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal, and we can take on Bogdan, right? And then send Durant to the Clippers. And let's see if we need to do anything else. Okay, so we need to cut $38 million from the Clippers. So let's see here. So what I could do is I could send Nick Claxton there, and then Derek Jones Jr. and Chris Dunn and that guy right there. See how all the numbers are in the green now? This should clear now. Okay, didn't work. We're going to cut $9 million. And let's see, the Suns can take, $77 million. So let's cut $9 million. Okay, that should, there we go. Now we're successful. So here's what happened. I had to get under the first apron for each team. So I a bunch of salary, sent it to the Nets to get the Suns below the first apron so they can aggregate salaries, okay, which means you can combine salaries. So by doing this, and I didn't even trade James Harden. So in essence, we could do this. We could do a 2-year extension. Okay, so we could re-sign James Harden, and we can extend Durant 1 year. Okay. So now they're all locked up for 2 years. Okay. That's a pretty formidable big three. Now, will Durant want to play with James Harden? I don't know. But the nice thing is that they have a lot of flexibility with this number. Okay, and then you got all these players here that they can re-sign. So we have 10 players under contract. I think one of them we have to opt into. Right here, Nicholas Batum. So we can give him a 2-year deal. Okay. So let's give him a 2-year deal. All right. Save that. And then we can, all the other guys that we re-sign, we can give them 2-year contracts. So everybody's lined up, and there's no, the only body that's going over is Zubats and the guys on rookie scale contracts. Okay. But like Kobe Brown, he's locked in for 2 years, and so on and so forth. So you can get a lot of stuff done, and we have $36 million in first apron space. So actually, we don't need to give up Norman Powell. Now it's gonna fail because I'm re-signing players, but the trade already was good. So, but basically what I did was this. So if you look at what contracts I did, so if we undid this and undid this, there you go. Okay, we're successful. So we can take on 16 million more. The Suns can take on 18 million more, and the Nets have $5 million of playroom. So if we bring back Norman Powell, we might be over. Let me just see if that would work. Yeah, it doesn't work because we need to cut $9 million. So what we could do is, because I really like him, Norman Powell, he's just a good role player, you know. What they could do is re-sign this guy right here. I think if our cap were, so the Suns could take on 55 million. 9 million we need to cut, so we can give them 9 million, really 10. Let's give them 10 million. One, like a 3-year deal for 10 million a year, which in NBA numbers is really cheap because the minimum salary, I don't want to give him 22 million. The minimum salary in the NBA is 3 million. So, if I try that trade, it doesn't work because I didn't trade him. I just paid him. So let me send him to Phoenix. All right. Now let's see what it does. Okay, so we need to cut 1 million. All right, so we're getting close. And this is just so I can keep Norman Powell because I want to have a little depth when we're, you know, if we're going all in to try to win, we need to have a little depth. Okay, but this is a very formidable big three, and also with Zubats, it's really, this is a complete team right here. That's a good starting five. Okay, their bench is a little low, but they can work on that, and so let's re-up Durant for a year. We'll give him 50 million, and then we'll re-sign James Harden, and let's look at what their cap sheet would look like when this is done. So I'll give James Harden a 2-year deal. So he lines up with Kawhi and with Durant, respectively. And let's see, how many? Okay, so we are, where are we at with the, okay, we're at 191. I need to re-sign Kobe Brown because it doesn't let me opt in. So we'll just give him the same numbers. So we're going to give him that. Okay, and then I'll give him 4.7, just like his team option, because we have him under team control for 2 years. So we want to make sure that we execute that option and keep him around for 2 years. So there you go. We got all that. I would re-sign Norman Powell for 1 year and then sign all these guys for 2 years, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So, and we only need 5 players. So let's re-sign Norman Powell for 1 more year. We'll give him a little bit of a bump. And then let's look at the cap holds. So Ben Simmons, we'll give him a 2-year deal. I don't think that they're going to pay him that much. I wouldn't. He has had a resurgence, but he's not a starter. So give him $7 million. Patty Mills is a good player. We can give him a 2-year deal. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, Ballmer honestly has got deep pockets, so he could pay them whatever they want to stay with the Clippers. And he's always had a high payroll. If you look at the history of the Clippers, they've always had a higher payroll than most teams because of Ballmer's substantial commitment to investing in the team. So there you go. We are $500,000 below the, really $600,000 if you round up, $600,000 below the second apron. So we're right there, and we're at 218, which I think is a higher number. I think this calculator doesn't work because I gave them all like smaller contracts. So, but you can see the numbers here. So we're at 225, and so you got, you know, a 2-year window to compete, and the second apron is 207, but we're at 206. So the calculation on the calculator is off. It's not 225. I don't know why it has that. So that's the outlook for the Clippers. They can, if they go get Durant, that's a way that they can do it, where they just need to get a third team involved with cap space and then move some of their contracts over there so they can clear enough space to get under the second apron, really the first apron, and then you can aggregate salaries and you can do a lot more flexible things than you can when you're hard capped. So there you go. Thanks for checking out Sports by Cap here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you can update anytime we upload new contents. And check out the latest episodes from the show right here.